They told us Joe Hendry was untouchable. They told us he was the future. They told us Tony D'Angelo didn't stand a chance in a no disqualification environment. Well, guess what? They were dead wrong. What we witnessed on the 13th of January 2026 wasn't just a match, it was a straight-up dismantling, a career-altering beatdown that has the entire wrestling world asking one question: is Joe Hendry's momentum officially dead? Because let me tell you something right now, what Tony D'Angelo did to Joe Hendry wasn't wrestling. It was personal, it was vicious, and it might have just changed the entire landscape of NXT forever. If you think I'm exaggerating, stick around, because the footage doesn't lie, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this might be the most important match NXT has delivered all year. Before we dive deep into this absolute carnage, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, did Tony D'Angelo go too far, or did Joe Hendry deserve every single bit of what he got? And make sure you hit that like button because we're about to break down a match that has everyone talking. Let's set the stage. Joe Hendry has been on an absolute tear through NXT. The man's charisma is off the charts, his catchphrase has become a movement, and every single week, arenas are packed with fans chanting his name. He's been positioned as the next big thing, the guy who's going to carry NXT into its next golden era. The hype train was at full speed, and it seemed like nothing could derail it. Enter Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT. The guy who's been grinding in the trenches, building his family, his empire, brick by brick. While everyone was busy fawning over Hendry's entrance music and his viral moments, D'Angelo was quietly cementing himself as one of the most dangerous men in that locker room. But here's the thing, nobody wanted to give him his flowers. Everyone kept sleeping on the Don, acting like he was just some mid-card act while Hendry was the main event player. That disrespect, that's what lit the fuse. And on the 13th of January, that fuse reached the dynamite. The match was announced as no disqualification, and you could feel the tension building all week. No countouts, no disqualifications, no rules. Just two men, a ring, and whatever weapons they could get their hands on. Hendry came in confident, maybe too confident. He had that swagger, that look in his eyes like he'd already won before the bell even rang. Meanwhile, D'Angelo, stone cold, focused. He looked like a man on a mission, and that mission was simple: destroy Joe Hendry. The bell rings, and these two don't waste a single second. They immediately go nose to nose, talking trash, and you can see Hendry smirking, almost laughing at the Don. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Because D'Angelo responds with a right hand that drops Hendry like a sack of potatoes. The crowd goes silent. That smirk? Gone. And this is where things start to go downhill for Hendry, fast. D'Angelo doesn't give him a second to recover. He's stomping, he's punching, he's throwing Hendry around like he's nothing. And here's what stood out to me: there was a calculated brutality to everything Tony was doing. This wasn't just a man trying to win a match. This was a man trying to send a message. Every strike had bad intentions behind it. Every throw was designed to hurt. Every move was meant to humiliate. Now, here's where I want you to comment below what weapon in this match did the most damage. Because trust me, we're about to get into the absolute chaos that unfolded. Tables, chairs, kendo sticks, crowbars, you name it, they used it. But Tony D'Angelo? He weaponized everything. At one point, he pulls out a steel chain from under the ring, wraps it around his fist, and starts pummeling Hendry with it. The camera catches Hendry's face, and you can see the immediate regret in his eyes. This wasn't the match he thought it would be. This wasn't the spotlight moment where he proves he's the future. This was a fight for survival, and he was losing. The turning point comes when D'Angelo sets up a table in the corner. Now, you know whenever a table gets set up in a no DQ match, someone's going through it. The question is who? Hendry tries to fight back, lands a few desperation shots, and for a brief moment, it looks like he might turn the tide. He's got D'Angelo dazed, and he goes for his signature move. But the Don scouts it, counters, and hits the most devastating spinebuster you've ever seen, sending Hendry crashing through that table. The arena erupts. The impact is sickening. Hendry is laid out in the wreckage, and you can see him barely moving. Any normal match, that's it. That's the finish. But not in a no disqualification match. And more importantly, not when Tony D'Angelo isn't done making his point. Here's something I noticed that I haven't seen anyone else talking about. D'Angelo could have pinned Hendry right there. He had him dead to rights. But he doesn't. He pulls Hendry up. He drags him to his feet, looks him dead in the eyes, and you can almost read his lips: "I'm not done with you yet." That's when you realize this isn't about winning anymore. This is about dominance. This is about making sure Joe Hendry and everyone watching understands who the real top dog in NXT is. The Don drags Hendry outside the ring, and this is where things get absolutely brutal. He slams Hendry's head into the steel steps, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The sound echoes through the arena. The crowd is in shock. Some fans are even trying to look away. But D'Angelo? He's emotionless, cold, methodical. He's not doing this out of rage, he's doing this with purpose. And then comes the moment that has everyone talking. D'Angelo pulls out a crowbar. You heard that right. A crowbar. Now, before you ask, how is that even allowed? Remember, this is no disqualification. Everything is legal. But just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not insane. Tony stalks around Hendry, who's desperately trying to crawl away, and just when you think he's going to show mercy, he raises that crowbar and brings it down across Hendry's back. Once, twice, 3 times. The thud of metal against flesh is something you don't forget. Quick question for the comment section: was this the most brutal no DQ match in NXT history, or have we seen worse? Let me know what you think. Hendry is completely broken at this point. He's barely responsive, his body is a mess, and you're starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, someone should stop this match. But there's no referee stoppage in no DQ. There's no one throwing in the towel. This continues until someone gets pinned or submits. And submission? That's not even on the table anymore. Hendry can barely move. D'Angelo rolls him back into the ring, signals to the crowd, and you know what's coming. He lifts Hendry up and delivers his finishing move with authority. The impact shakes the ring. Hendry isn't kicking out. He can't kick out. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. It's over. But here's what makes this even more significant: the aftermath. D'Angelo doesn't celebrate like a normal winner. He doesn't raise his hands in triumph or soak in the cheers. Instead, he stands over Hendry's broken body, stares down at him with this look of complete disdain, and just walks away. No emotion, no words, just pure, cold dominance. That image of Hendry laid out in the center of the ring while the Don walks up the ramp, that's the image that's going to define this rivalry. The WWE universe is divided right now. Half the fans are saying Tony D'Angelo just had the performance of his career and proved he deserves to be in the main event picture. The other half are saying he went too far, that he crossed a line, and that what he did to Hendry was unnecessary and borderline criminal. Me, I think that's exactly what makes this so compelling. This wasn't a clean, technical wrestling match. This was a fight. This was real. This was 2 men with legitimate issues settling them in the most violent way possible. And now, the big question everyone's asking: where does Joe Hendry go from here? Because let's be real, this loss is massive. This isn't just another L on his record. This is the kind of loss that can derail momentum entirely. Hendry came into this match as one of the hottest acts in NXT, and he's leaving it broken, battered, and humiliated. Can he recover? Absolutely. But it's going to take something special. He's going to have to dig deep, rebuild, and prove that this was just a setback, not the end of his story. As for Tony D'Angelo, this man just announced himself as the top heel in NXT. He's not asking for respect anymore, he's taking it. And if this is what he's willing to do in a no DQ match, imagine what he's capable of when a championship is on the line. Before we wrap this up, I need to know, Team Hendry or Team D'Angelo? Who are you backing moving forward? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's get a debate going, because this community is split right down the middle. What we witnessed on the 13th of January 2026 wasn't just another wrestling match. It was a statement. Tony D'Angelo told the entire NXT roster that he's done being overlooked, and Joe Hendry learned the hard way that sometimes belief in yourself isn't enough when you're standing across from a man who has nothing to lose and everything to prove. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for more content like this, and share this video with every wrestling fan you know. This is the kind of match people are going to be talking about for years, and you don't want to be left out of the conversation. I'll catch you in the next one.